Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me here. I'm going to attempt to explain some things about Charms, our database, specifically about the finances section as it relates to what it looks like, where you can find things such as your fundraising information, miscellaneous items, what is a deposit, and what are charges. How do you find these things? What are you looking at when you're logged on to Charms? So here we go. Okay, now I'm going to be talking about utilizing the app on the phone. So if you go into your store that you buy your apps on, you're going to be looking for Charms Blue, which is the student side. Charms White is something that I can potentially use on my side, but for you, it'll be the Charms Blue app. Once you get it and download it, you'll go to the login screen. Of course, Band of Legacy, all one word, is our school code, and then you type in your either your student ID or the password that you have changed it to. Once you've done that, you should see this screen. So if you'll go into, I'm just going to show you finances for right now in this video. And this is what you're going to see in the app. If you've already watched the online version of this, you'll see some differences here. So we don't have a trip this year, and so it's zero. We don't use fixed payments, so that's always going to be zero there. This is still the same stuff for Willie the Wildcat. He has $60 in fundraisers due. His miscellaneous ledger due is $88, and his total due would be $148. But that's a little bit misleading, so we'll get to that. And I made my math error, of course, in the previous video, and I will fix that later, hopefully. Here we go. Okay, so I'm just going to go down to the fundraising detail, and as you can see, as we previously stated, with the online version, he has a box of chocolate that he checked out on the 27th and was charged to his account. He also paid for chocolate, and you can see there's the given column, there's the paid column, and the profit. So you can see he's only paid for the one box. Out of those three boxes, two of them were given to him, and only one box was paid for. And on that 8/27/20, he paid 60. And the profit is $25, and that's going to be credited to his account further down. So the final box that you'll see is the miscellaneous ledger, and you'll see the very first thing at the top, from top to bottom. At the top is the most recent transaction, and then at the bottom is the very first transaction. So in this column, you'll see that all the way to the right in the amounts, you'll see negative numbers and positive numbers. Negative numbers are charges, and positive numbers are the things that you have paid and that I've put in there. Remember, I put all of these things in there. So have patience with me to allow me time. Once you've paid for it, it doesn't automatically do it. So I've got to do all of that. So you can see how the shoes were charged on the 20th, $35. Practice clothes were charged on the 20th, $65. The fee was charged on the 22nd, $150. Those are all negative numbers. And the first time there was a payment, it happened on the 27th. What was paid, it was fees, and it was $150. And then you'll see on the 27th, a T-shirt was deducted, right? It was charged to the account. And then on the 27th, that's, if I go back up to that fundraising detail, that's when one of those boxes was paid for, and the profit was applied on the 27th, $25. So in this is what Willie owes, is $88. Now, up in the fundraising, he still owes for that box, for that one box, the $60. And once he pays for that, he'll have an additional $25 that'll be profited. Now, when you subtract $25 from 88, it'll be 63. And so I made that mistake earlier. Yes, again, that's why I'm a band director, not a mathematician. So, so I hope that that explains a little bit. If you scroll back up, of course, I'll go one more time on this totals box. which relates to everything you saw down below. There's the totals for fundraisers. He still owes a box for 1 box of chocolate. In the miscellaneous ledger, $88 is still owed. Okay, I didn't see this, but we don't have store invoices, credit, blah, blah, blah. We're not doing a store on charms. Now, we did the fan gear already. That has nothing to do with this. That's just something that we don't use on charms. So just ignore the store invoices. And you can see the total due is $148. Again, you're not going to pay the $148 because you still have some of this fundraiser due, and that's going to be applied to the account. So again, always pay your fundraisers first, and that way the profits are applied, and then you'll see miscellaneous ledger due, you'll see a total number there, and that's what you'll pay. So again, Willie pays the $60, $25 is credited, and his miscellaneous would ultimately say $63 due. And that hopefully explains what you need to know. And again, disclaimer, you get a little bit more information if you use the online version. So most of my questions have come from someone that's using the app that doesn't understand what all of these numbers and totals and negative it's harder to understand. I think there's elements of this that you just got to sometimes slow down and try to figure it out. Here's something else you need to know too. You may pay something like this box of chocolate may have been checked out not exactly on this day, but that's the day that I put the transaction into charms. Put it in there like that. The payment may not have been on that exact day. It may have been 3 or 4 days earlier than that. But that's the day that I put it into charms. Same thing with all of these. When there's a payment made, that fee that was paid, the $150, may not have been paid exactly or deducted from your account on the 27th. You may have done it on the 19th, but it took me till the 27th to get all of the information together, to sit down behind my computer, to open up my emails, to go through every single person individually for every single thing that was deposited, for every single thing that was charged, for me to do all of that, to put them in individually, to check it, make sure it's right. And then I was able to do that on the 27th. So it may be several days later. And the final thing I want to say about this is if you do find something that does not look right, and you've combed through everything with your receipts, because when you pay online, you get receipts. If your receipts aren't making sense with what's going in to charms, yes, I am human. I can make mistakes mathematically, as you've seen already. So I sometimes I'll go to input 2 or 3 things from the same student, and sometimes that's where I go wrong. Something doesn't get entered correctly. So if you see something wrong, make sure and email me, and I'll investigate it, go back through all of my things. And sometimes I have the parents email me the receipts that they have, that they've received, just so I can double check. And usually that's what happens. There is a mistake, and I'll go ahead and fix it.